Ajahn Pran, and this is Ajahn Matthew Robson. So, welcome to World Catch Up. This episode, we will talk about Greenland and Venezuela. So, as everyone knows, 2025 has drawn to a close with the Russo-Ukrainian war entering the third year, and seemingly the end still far from sight. And right next to our doorstep, Thai-Cambodian border skirmishes end with a ceasefire, but tensions are still simmering. This year, where we haven't even finished January yet, 2026 seems to be kicked off on fire as well, with the U.S. intervention in Venezuela and President Trump's threat to seize Greenland and potential intervention in Middle East. Come to our first question, Ajahn Matthew. So, U.S. President Trump has raised again the issue of acquiring Greenland. So, how can we understand that?
Okay, I'll try to answer the question in two parts. The first one, I'll offer a geopolitical explanation for why the U.S. is so interested in Greenland, and secondly, I'll talk about the aggressive, discursive strategy and rhetoric of Trump to achieve the aims. So, first of all, the geopolitics of Greenland. The policy to acquire Greenland is of course, it's not new. They had this during his first term as well. So I think that means we can certainly take this seriously. It's something that is more of a long-term ambition, foreign policy ambition, and I think from a geopolitical perspective, we can look at this in terms of two considerations. The first one, they mention as the justification for pursuing Greenland is security, and the presence of Chinese and Russian influence in the Arctic. So Trump and the administration have been articulating that it's necessary to acquire Greenland to provide security in Greenland and in the Arctic more broadly. Secondly is the question of natural resources. Greenland has a lot of oil and gas. It has also significant quantities of rare earth minerals.
What Trump obsessed it with, right?
Yes. And this is a key factor in the US-China competition, global competition. China has a dominant position in this regard, it seems. And the US would like to diversify its supply chains. So Greenland is a way of doing that, and they're actually framing it as a national security issue. I think we also have to remember that there are corporations involved here as well. There are mining corporations, and then we also have big tech, which relies on these minerals as well. So we have again a kind of imbrication in interests between the U.S. administration and corporations. So that's the first part of the question, the geopolitical explanation. The second thing is, why does Trump and his administration use such an aggressive, discursive strategy to try and achieve the objectives vis-a-vis Greenland? It seems like this could all be resolved through diplomacy quite easily. Denmark is an ally.
EU, right? Yeah. NATO.
They're NATO members, right? Greenland has had a base there, a military base, US military base for a long time. They have, in the past, they've had many military bases in Greenland. So there's no problem there in arranging a security framework, I don't think. So why do they use this threatening language, the insulting language? And I think the explanation here, and this is an argument that some authors have made, is that Trump, he tries to create this spectacle. It's a media spectacle which is designed to attract and absorb media attention. This way, they can control the media narrative. They can control the media agenda, and this is useful politically because it means that the media are not talking about Epstein files. They're not talking about increasing inequalities in the United States. They're not talking about the decline of US influence internationally and globally. They're talking about what Donald Trump and the US administration, what they want to talk about. And a lot of it is nonsensical. It's absurd. And there's a lot of falsehoods, a lot of racist language, xenophobic language. But I believe that this is all part of a media strategy to control the media, control any criticism of Donald Trump and his administration. And they do this through outrageous behavior. So I think this is why we've seen the attacks on European allies, which is very bizarre, isn't it? Why would they be attacking their closest allies? It doesn't really make much sense unless we kind of understand it within this broader strategy, I think, of trying to control the media by doing outrageous things.
So it can be intentional thing that Trump and his administration did this.
Yeah, I think the alternative is to think that Donald Trump is just he's
Crazy,
just crazy.
yeah.
He's unpredictable. He's mercurial. There may be an element of that, but there has to be I think there has to be a more logical explanation for why they are doing this. And this idea of the spectacle, and it comes from an old book by Guy Debord, The Society of the Spectacle, and some people believe that this is the realization of that theory of Debord's many decades later, and it's manifested in the shape of Donald Trump.
President Trump. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be step a bit south from Greenland, right? So yeah. Prior to the recent controversy surrounding Greenland, the U.S. attacked Venezuela, right, and captured President Nicolas Maduro. So why do you think they did that? And are the two incidents related?
I think, well, the obvious justification is oil. Venezuela has, I think, the largest reserves on the planet.
I think so, yeah.
But this explanation is not so clear cut, because it seems that the oil infrastructure in Venezuela is very old. It's run down. They're estimating that it would take billions of dollars and many years before they could increase the quantity of production. And some oil companies, I think Exxon, came out that they said that there's not an investment there for them because of the infrastructure, and also because of the political climate as well. I don't think they seem too keen to get involved again in Venezuela with the current government still in place. The current Venezuelan government that's still there. They took Maduro away, but
same party, right? Yeah.
It's the same party that's in power. So the explanation that this is all about oil, I think it could be questionable. Geopolitically, this may be about the U.S. trying to demonstrate its military power and its willingness to use that power to dominate the Western Hemisphere. The so-called Monroe Doctrine.
Yeah, from Monroe Doctrine, yeah.
Which Donald Trump seems to quite like, that term.
Yeah.
So it could be like a warning to China to not encroach upon U.S. sphere of influence. China was a supporter of Venezuela. It has good relations with other Latin American countries. There was an interesting situation with Panama, the Panama Canal. Panama was originally, it had signed up to the Belt and Road Initiative, but then it changed course. Perhaps, I think that was due to pressure from the U.S. Administration. So maybe Trump and what they're trying to do is they're trying to control over the Western Hemisphere, warn off China, But again, I think there's an element of the spectacle about this as well, because we saw pictures of Maduro with the blindfold on.
Yeah. On the helicopter, walking in New York, in JFK, right? I mean the JFK airport.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
That's clearly designed for the media, I think,
Yeah.
to repeat endlessly these images and the
Yeah.
reports. But yes, I think there's definitely a strategic element to that, in the U.S. showing its power, its military power, in its sphere, its neighborhoods, and yeah, that's. But we shouldn't forget as well that they basically they committed an egregious violation of international law by kidnapping Maduro.
Well, he's controversial figure, right? But yeah, against the international law, right? The sovereign of the head of state of other sovereign state.
That's right. Yeah. So they basically ignored the principle of territorial sovereignty, and they ripped up the international rulebook in doing so. So, but this also is aligned with the strategy articulated by Stephen Miller, one of his advisors, one of Trump's advisors, and he seems to advocate a very realist international relations position. He says it's all about power and force, and international rules, they don't really matter so much. So
sounds like undergrad report. But yeah, we're very realism. Yeah.
Very realpolitik.
And realpolitik, right on the face. I see. So yeah, we can see some consistency, right, from the unpredictable Trump. Yeah, somehow. Yeah, if we buy the idea of a spectacle. But this kind of makes sense for me. Yeah, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it is interesting that they took Maduro, but they left the
rest.
the existing party still in place.
Right,
you know, so it wasn't regime change.
Yeah, just Maduro and his wife. Right?
So that was a little bit strange. I thought. You know.
Let's see. Okay, so we move from Western Hemisphere to Middle East, right? So there is still violent conflict raging in the region, right? And one case which has not received too much attention has been the dispute between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, or the UAE. So how could we explain this from the geopolitical perspective?
Sure. So there's obviously a lot going on in the Middle East at the moment. There was serious civil unrest in Iran. I think everyone saw that. The ongoing civil war in Syria,
again,
which seems to be endless, and Israel's continued assault on Palestine, and now we have the situation between Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. This has also been attracting a lot of attention. These are two historic allies. They're members of the Gulf Cooperation Council, both monarchical systems with common foreign policy concerns and objectives. With the relations with the US, the concern about Iran as well. But the relationship recently has run into serious problems, it seems. And there are a few aspects to this. I think there are three main aspects to this. The first one is the situation in Yemen. Saudi Arabia and the UAE were working together in Yemen, opposing the Houthis, who it seems have been supported by Iran. But they're both pursuing divergent strategies also. Saudi Arabia, it seems, it favors having a more unified approach, a unified Yemen, a coalition to oppose the Houthis, whereas the UAE have been supporting separatist groups in the south, and this is causing a problem for Saudi Arabia. They feel that this is a security threat. The armed group that the UAE were supporting are called the Southern Transitional Council. and the UAE was providing arms and supporting them militarily. And recently, Saudi Arabia started to use airstrikes on their positions, which is effectively attacking the UAE as well as their.
Yeah, it's very surprising. Yeah.
So we have this problem in this difference in Yemen, but this is kind of like a symptom of a broader problem, a broader difference in strategy, regional strategy, where generally speaking, it seems that Saudi Arabia is pursuing greater stability. They would like a more stable, greater Middle East. This would perhaps facilitate their economic development, the pursuit of their Vision 2030, it's called. So Saudi Arabia is looking at economic diversification. And they believe, I think, that a more stable region is going to benefit that, whereas UAE have been supporting separatist groups, not only in Yemen, but in Libya, in Sudan as well.
Oh, yeah, in Sudan, yeah.
There's also the question of Israel. UAE has been normalizing relations with Israel. Saudi Arabia has been much more cautious about that, given the ongoing bombardment of Palestine. So this is the second factor, and the third factor is economic competition between Saudi Arabia and the UAE, and there's a lot of competition in different areas, in tech, in tourism, in air travel, and in hydrocarbons as well. So there's a few factors here which seem to be fueling this growing conflict between the two.
Right? Yeah.
Which could be a problem for the greater region, because we may end up with some states having to take a side, and
More side.
more
side issues. Yeah.
and then maybe more civil conflict as well. So this is probably not good news, I think, for stability in the region, I would say.
So hope it didn't flare up, but well, we can just hope. So we now see the world on fire, right? I mean, even in the first month of this year.
Well, this is the Middle East. The problem that's been there for decades in the Middle East now. The violent conflict. There are so many interests, external powers that are involved in the Middle East. We have the states in the Middle East who are in conflict with each other, and then we have the non-state actors as well. So it's some of these violent conflicts, like the one in Yemen, for example, are very, very difficult to resolve, and that's why they have continued for so many years. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's can catch up the world for us. From the last year and the first month of the year. Hope we see peace in the upcoming year, maybe. But let's see. And what spectacle Trump will attract the media again. Let's see. So I think that's all for today. And thank you, Ajahn Matthew, and I'm Ajahn Pran. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Pran.